You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
I'm back. Road Rants for Black and White Sports. There is further fallout from the Olympic Games, and now it has dragged the NFL into its failure, and NBC has a full-blown disaster on its hands. I just did a video over on the main channel, Black and White Sports, that this year's Olympics was the lowest rated Olympics of all time. Summer or winter. Well, the plot thickens because a lot of people don't realize this. NBC and CBS actually swapped their coverage of the Super Bowl this year. It was supposed to be CBS next February. But because NBC has the Winter Olympics, which is going on at the same time, they agreed to swap out coverage of the Super Bowl. Now, NBC has both the Winter Olympics and the Super Bowl. Well, the fallout from this Olympics is now about to affect NBC's advertisers and the money they're going to make from their Super Bowl broadcast. Very quickly, before we get to that, John Matrix, tell us about Jobby Coffee, please.
Let's talk about today's sponsor, Jobby Coffee. Jobby Coffee is the way I love to start off my morning. I work very, very hard for you guys to put out the best content possible. And I get my energy from Jobby Coffee. Would you like to have that same energy that I have every single morning? Well, you should try Jobby Coffee. And for you guys, you can actually get 3 bottles of Jobby Coffee for only $16.95 per unit. Each bottle contains 30 servings. It will save you so much money from going to your local coffee shop. And by the way, folks, it actually tastes even better. You can use sugar. You can use monk fruit. I'm a low-carb person. I don't like the carbs. This is keto-friendly. And guys, it is super easy to make. Just put water in your cup, add 1 teaspoon or 2 teaspoons of Jobby Coffee, mix it up, use whipped cream, sugar, monk fruit, whatever. And folks, it tastes absolutely amazing. So check out the link in the description or the pinned comment and get Jobby Coffee delivered to you today.
Now, very quickly, I'll just let you know, when I make my coffee, 1% chocolate milk, Southern butter pecan creamer, Ready Whip on top with cinnamon powder, and 2 tablespoons of Jobby Coffee go in that. Mix it up. Wow. It is unbelievable. Got that jolt of caffeine I'm looking for. It is fantastic. It tastes freaking amazing. All right, let's get to this story. Sports business reporter Darren Ravel covered the 2008 Beijing and 2010 Vancouver Olympics for CNBC. This is Fox News. His current gig as Action Network senior executive producer put him in a situation where he wanted to consume games as a fan, but Ravel feels NBC made it difficult by putting an emphasis on streaming service Peacock instead of regular TV. I don't think NBC helped itself out, Ravel told Fox News. Obviously, they wanted to drive people to Peacock. I think that didn't work. Ravel said NBC did a horrendous job driving people to linear television, regular television. They're putting too much emphasis on streaming right now. They really are. There's only a fraction of people using streaming right now. I am, but a lot of people are not. My dad likes to watch the Olympics, generally speaking, in most years, and he has network television. That's all he's got. They, quote, they weren't great about telling you what's going on when. And that has no excuse. If you wanted to watch an event, a lot of people didn't know when it was on, which to me doesn't make much sense. He said the time difference was another clear issue during the age of modern technology, as he was told by CNBC in 2008 that fireworks behind a live shot should be ignored because the network hadn't aired the tape-delayed opening ceremonies yet. That was okay 13 years ago. It's not okay now, Ravel said, noting NBC continued to air events hours after they occurred. I think in the last 5 years, since 2016, things in general are now unavoidable. You cannot avoid something once a Bleacher Report or anybody else who gets into the feeds, which are sometimes like involuntary or inadvertent based on what you subscribe to. In the last 5 years, they're unavoidable. Now, this is where the plot thickens, because the creator of the Ringer Podcast Network, the biggest sports podcast in the world, Bill Simmons, has blasted NBC now over their coverage, particularly of men's basketball. Of course, Bill covers the NBA a lot. This team was full of NBA players. Media mogul Bill Simmons blasted NBC when he tried to watch coverage of men's basketball. Quote, they're showing it at weird hours. After the game's in, they don't have replays of the game. You have to basically search for the game and hope there's a clip on there. And then, like about 7 hours later, they'll show a 7-minute recap of the game, Bill Simmons said on his podcast. How can they F this up? How hard is this? There are so many basketball fans, Simmons said. It's 2021. How do you screw this up? Others complain that the games lack star power, and gymnastics legend Simone Biles pulling out of the scheduled events didn't help matters. Well, this is where the fallout comes in. The Wall Street Journal reported that some disappointed Olympic advertisers have been offered additional commercial time to, quote, make up for the shortfall compared with the audience size NBC had promised. They didn't come close to delivering to advertisers, which is a common practice in the industry when ratings are underwhelming. Listen to this. Quote, some ad buyers said they might look for a discount on ads in the Super Bowl, or a slot in the Beijing Winter Olympics, which are set to start on February 4th, to resolve contractual issues, the Journal reported. And it goes on to talk about, we've talked about how low the Olympic Games were. On Sunday, the closing ceremonies averaged 8.8 viewers to finish as the least watched ever. NBC has remained publicly upbeat despite the disappointing viewership, circulating a press release touting the 7,000 plus hours of coverage it made available, the closing ceremonies winning Sunday night, and Peacock, which is still relatively new, having its best 2-week period ever. Deadline senior editor and TV critic Dominic Patton wrote that the NBC Olympics face-planted and mocks the network's positive media spin. NBC likely will never admit it, but the Comcast-owned network must be so relieved that the Tokyo Games are finally over. Patton wrote, noting that NBC boasting about ratings wins over shows like Big Brother aren't exactly what advertisers expected. That's not a lot to write home about, from Tokyo or otherwise. So, NBC, and look, we also know about all the social narratives around the Olympic ratings not being good. I just released a video on the main channel about it. But now, NBC is getting hit in their pocketbook because these advertisers are now going to look at the Super Bowl, look at the Winter Games, and they want additional advertising for no more money. They want it just free because they paid for a certain amount of viewers. They sell advertising based on a certain amount of viewers, and NBC did not deliver that to their viewers. So the repercussions from all the social justice agendas, all the time differences, and everything else that went down is now going to crater NBC and their advertising dollars that they were going to get back. I think it's funny that they got hammered by Bill Simmons calling them out, and make no mistake, Bill puts out, I think it's 3 or 4 podcasts a week and has a total of maybe like 25 million listens a month or something utterly ridiculous on his podcast. Just his. He owns the whole network, and he's got like 25 different podcasts on there, including Ryan Russillo. So Bill said, look, NBC getting hammered by Bill Simmons is not a good look. It's not a good look. He'll reach way more people than somebody like ESPN calling him out. And I started listening to this podcast the other day, and this is where this quote came from. Bill Simmons was mad as hell. I mean, he went off, cussing all through the beginning of that Ringer podcast because he couldn't figure out how to watch the freaking basketball games. He was like, it's an utter failure from NBC. Tell me what you think, Black and White Live fans. Now Roger Goodell and the NFL and NBC have to be concerned about their advertising dollar because of what they just let happen in the Olympics. Roger Goodell, you might want to take note of some of that social justice crap you plan on pulling in this season and take a look at what happened at the Olympics. Peace, I'm out.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.